Hi, it's Margot. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm back for an interview with the film director He ShuMing. He's the director behind the movie Ajoomma. I don't know if you heard of it. It's a movie that I really wanted to watch, and I'm very glad that I could discuss about the movie with the director. I really enjoyed this interview, and the episode that you're listening right now is the part where we talked only about the movie Ajoomma. During this part, we mainly talked about the movie, the behind the scene, also some fun facts about how certain actors went on board for the movie and everything. Actually, we did like a longer version, so if you are interested in that, we did not only talk about the movie, but also the director's career. We talked a bit about K-dramas and a lot of interesting stuff. So yeah, I hope that you will like this interview and learn a bit more about the movie Ajoomma. Without further ado, let's get started with the interview. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for the introduction part. Maybe we can go to Ajoomma. We can talk about your first feature film. Maybe can you tell us a bit more about this movie for the one who haven't watched it yet?
So Ajoomma is about a Singaporean middle-aged woman who is obsessed with Korean drama, and she decides to travel to Korea, um, and supposedly with her son, and then her son couldn't make it, so then she decides to continue to go on her own, but she gets left behind, and in sort of trying to find her way back to rejoin this group tour that she has joined. Um, Initially, she goes on this unexpected journey of self-discovery, and it's a film very much inspired by my mom's real obsession with Korean drama, which I think a lot of people have, um,
Yeah.
and that escape, that Korean drama offers sometimes, and how it mirrors and parallels your own lives. That was what interests me in making this film.
Okay. So for the inspiration, it's mainly your mother.
It started
And
from there, yeah.
yeah. And how
Mhm.
much time did it take to bring this movie to life?
In total, about 7 years.
Okay.
In between when I was started to develop it when I was in school, and then started writing it, and we developed it in film labs, and financing it was also challenging because it was my first film. I worked with my producer Anthony Chen, who has made a few very successful
Yeah.
independent Singapore films, Ilo Ilo, Wet Season,
The Breaking
and
Eyes.
he Breaking Eyes, and so working with him was, and I've known him since we were in our 20s, for many years. So he came on board in the beginning, and we developed it together and financed it, and he helped to get financing for it, um, and then shot it. Yeah, so it took about 7 years in total.
Yeah, during my interview with Anthony Chen, he told me about Ajumma and he said that I
Mm.
might like it. So that's why, because when it was announced at the Busan Film Festival, like each year, I like to watch like the lineup of each festival to get in touch with it.
Mhm.
And I saw at first like the lineup at the BIF, and I saw your movie at first. But then when I
Yeah,
did the interview with Anthony Chen, like it was maybe a year later, maybe. He
yeah,
told me about that, and I was like, oh, okay, I have to note it down, and maybe when I have the opportunity to watch it, maybe I will do an interview,
yeah,
maybe. So,
yeah,
yeah. And I know that
yeah.
it's very important for a filmmaker, like, to go between the short movie form and the feature film. It's quite a huge time, a huge moment for a filmmaker. Did you face any challenges? Or was it hard to do this
Mm.
big move?
I think I've sort of a lot of it seems theoretical. A lot of it is, because the feature film is a completely different
Yeah.
monster than a short film. The commitment to it, and the time and the money that you put into it, and the audience
Yeah.
you want to have is very different from
Short
a
movies.
feature film, short movies, and so for me it was really making sure that uh, we've done the preparation, we've done, and really making sure that the script was solid. So I
Yeah.
think working with Anthony, he was very strict about that. Um, I think it was helpful because the labs that we attended, and the numerous meetings that we had to talk about the characters and stories, was to make sure that we got the script tight, and that we have this amount of budget that we have to work with, and also the idea of, I chose to, my first feature film had to be shot in a country that in a language I don't speak, and in winter, where Singapore, we don't have winter, so it was putting myself in all these obstacles that are difficult, so, but I kind of, because that's what the story required, so you go along with it, and you make sure that it works out. So more than anything, the preparation is the same, but I think the difference between short film and feature is that feature is really just a marathon. You just have to ensure that sometimes you just have to slow down a little bit so that you can continue, because it's such a long
process
journey to
And you talk about working in South Korea, so it is your first time in working with South Korean production, not production, but team, kind of. So did you face any challenges since it's not your mother tongue Korean? Did you learn maybe a bit of Korean, or did you speak English on the set?
I tried learning Korean, but it's just, it's difficult to be on a level that requires you to be really proficient and run a set. We work with a very good translator. She is a Singaporean actress based in Korea, and she's very fluent in Korean, English, Singlish, Mandarin. So she became someone that was always by my side. Working with Koreans was initially tough, because not especially trying to find the right people who can also be effectively bilingual is quite challenging. So we in our team, there are some of them, like the core team would be bilingual, but then there are a lot of others that, and also the actors don't necessarily speak English, and so we know that communication is going to be difficult. So my translator became someone who was our constant sort of, she's always there, because then she ensures that nothing gets lost, and even if things gets lost, we know how to sort of fix it. It has happened. I mean, there's been some miscommunication, but it's bound to happen when you don't speak the same language. But we understand how to sort of rectify that, and so that was maybe the biggest, I think, challenge that can creep up once in a while. Other challenges would be, for me, it was shooting in winter.
Especially in Korea.
Especially in Korea. Korea winter is so harsh. And I've never experienced shooting a film outdoors in that kind of cold before. So it's just to manage my expectation and to make sure I'm able to do my job well, from the cold. So the crew and the team were very helpful in making sure that we are prepared for that. I guess also it was towards the end of COVID, so there was a lot of protocols, I remember, with surrounding COVID. And Korea is, like Singapore, it's very strict. There's a lot of restrictions in place. So I remember I was almost quarantined because I had a COVID infection before I flew. So back then they didn't know. There wasn't really a lot of protocols that we have today. So it was like, oh, you have to be quarantined. But that means that eats into my pre-production time, and it's how do we get out of that? It was a lot of looking back. It was just a lot of little minor things, but at the end of the day, it was such a fun 3-4 months that we were there, trying to make this film, meeting the actors and working with them, it was it wasn't anything that was so difficult, because it was difficult, but we also went through it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for the winter part, since you said that you filmed when was COVID, did you decide at first, like at the beginning, that you wanted to film in winter, or is it something that came upon you and you didn't have any solution because it was you film now or never?
I think it was very early on, I wanted it to be in winter because I
Okay.
wanted the snow, and I wanted this character, this Ajoomma, who come from Singapore, and she has never seen falling snow before.
Okay.
I think that idea of a middle-aged woman seeing snow for the first time and becoming a child again, that image to me, and you see in the film, she sees it and then she is mesmerized by it.
Yeah.
So that has always been from the very beginning in the first draft, in the so many drafts I've written in 7 years, but that has always sticked. And it's probably one of the first scene I imagined was this woman dancing in the snow. So then I knew it has to be in winter. But that also means, that's why it also took so long, because we had just this window of time to shoot the film.
Yeah.
So over time, I remember over the 7 years, there were times where we're like, okay, I think we're ready to shoot this year. But then we haven't found financing, or the script wasn't right. So then we have to wait another year because we missed it. So that gives us a bit of like timeline, I guess. So I've never really thought of changing it to like, oh, let's do it in the fall, let's do it in the summer, because then it won't be the same, you know, the impact wouldn't be the same as this winter and summer in Singapore.
Yeah. I see. And maybe for the casting choice, since you talk about Yeo Jin Goo and other actors that are very famous, not only Yeo Jin Goo, but if people who are listening to us right now, if they are like watching K-dramas for some time, they will recognize a lot of people. How did it work for you for the casting? Did you have like any actor in particular in mind, or did you like come up with the flow and?
Maybe let's start with the first actress, the main actress. So Hong Hui Fang, who plays the Ajoomma.
Yeah.
So she's an actress. She's a very veteran television actress in Singapore.
Yeah.
And I grew up watching her, and she was someone that I cast first.
Okay.
And we workshop together, and we spent a lot of time together to get the character right. And then in Korea, there were actors. The way I sort of work, or at least when working with the casting director, was that I look at actors I like, that I've seen, and I give them, you know, I kind of like this actor, do you think we can get them? So the first one that we cast was Jeong Dong Hwan, who plays the older man in the film. So he is someone, you know, he's such a veteran. I remember he was my first choice. The first that sort of came to mind just because I've seen him in dramas and in some films.
Yeah, he's a veteran.
Yeah, and also a lot of it is my mom's approval of like, yeah, he's good, you know. So she has to say in it, or rather she has opinions in it. So he was the first that we managed to cast, and with Yeo Jin Goo, I think we had a whole list of actors that we wanted to play the cameo, because he's playing himself, and obviously, you know, there were actors who turned it down because it's a first indie film, the budget's not very high, and how do we make this an incentive for this actor to say yes? And Yeo Jin Goo was very generous in the sense that I think he worked at Jeong Dong Hwan in Hotel de Luna, which is this Korean drama, quite very popular Korean drama with IU, and I think he was like, oh, if Mr. Jeong is on it, I'll say yes. So then we managed to cast him. The tour guide was the hardest to cast because I needed a Korean actor who can speak both Korean and Mandarin.
Yeah.
And I think Kang Hyung-suk, who really just came around because someone suggested his name because he spent a few years in China in high school. And so they was like, oh great, let's see if he can speak a little bit of Mandarin or can speak Mandarin. And he did a tape, and then I was like, and decided to bring him in for a reading, and talk to him. And then, but in my mind, I was like, this guy is way too good looking to be this character. He's just so beautiful, his face. But he had such a good energy about him, but also he is a really good actor, very committed. So it was working with him to craft his sort of part of his personality into the character a little bit. And so it all, it kind of came together. I thought we had a perfect cast, and the other bit actors in the film also were really well. I thought we had some really real good talents in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was surprised because at first in the trailer, I think I only saw Hong Hui Fang and Yeo Jin Goo, if I remember correctly. So I was surprised to see Jeong Dong Hwan. Is that his name? I don't want to. I was surprised to see him because I like him, and he's like in a lot of K-dramas. And
yeah, he's such a good actor. And I remember when we first met, and we were just getting to know each other, and I said, I saw this Korean production of Lady Macbeth in Singapore when I was maybe 21 and I was in college, and I said it was such a good production because he works on stage as well. And then he said, oh, I was in that production. And then it became so weird because then I realized that I've seen you in person a long time ago, but we didn't realize that we met, or rather, that he was there, because I don't remember he was like, because it was so long ago, and then I probably don't know who he was then. So since then, every time when I go back to Korea, and he's always in a stage production, he would send me invitation to go watch him on stage. But the thing about these plays is that there are no subtitles. So I'm using like for 2 hours of a Korean play with no subtitles. But he's such a lovely man, and his face just says so much and tells so much story. Yeah.
You will end up learning Korean.
I hope so.
With time.
Yeah.
And maybe do you have anything that you like to say for the one who haven't watched the movie yet? Anything about the movie?
I think if you a lover of Korean drama, you would enjoy this film.
Yeah.
But also, even if you're not, I think it is regardless, I think it's a film that I hope will make you think about the dreams that you have, and you want to pursue them, but also think about your relationship with your family, with the people around you. Hopefully that makes you feel a little warm inside. It's a for me it is a heartwarming film.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a film that hopefully make the audience feel good, and because we went in with the intention of making it that way, and hopefully you'll feel the same thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that for the one who are listening to us right now, your movie will be like greatly loved. Like it's just a shame, like as we said previously, that French people cannot watch it yet, because when I saw the female lead like character, I was like, this is me maybe in a few decades. And a lot of Korean drama lovers, like it's us in a few decades. I mean, for a lot of us is that. So I kind of identify to her in certain ways. Like, that's what I like about the movie. That's why I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, we'll send you a link after.
And so that's pretty much it for Ajoomma. Maybe I wanted to talk a bit more about your previous like project and stuff like that. I wanted to know a bit more because I like to talk with film director, and I wanted to ask you maybe some general question. And one of them was, What do you like the most with your work now that you have done like quite several short movies and your first feature film?
I like that the films that I've made over the years are a reflection of my perspective and my taste and my voice
Mm-hmm.
of that time. Sometimes I look at my early short films from like when I was in film school, and there was a period of time I'd be like, oh my god, it's so cringy. Like, why did I think that? But then I've come to accept it because I can't deny who I was before, and that was what I.
It's part of the process, kind of.
Yeah. So I think it's a documentation of the filmmaker and the person that I was then, and I has I'm constantly evolving, and so that for me is a way to accept um, the films I've worked on, and the stories I want to tell. Then you know how has it evolved into the stories I want to tell now. I think that's really my approach with my body of work.
Mm. And among the project that you worked on, then either like one especially that you prefer?
No, I think they're all equally the same to me. So maybe some that I might be a bit like, oh, okay, it's still a work in progress for sure. A lot of them are work in progress. I made a short film uh, at AFI, which was about a Vietnamese manicurist who she is obsessed with American soap operas, and she want to change her accent. She want to be more Americanized, and she's a new immigrant with a heavy Vietnamese accent. But I think it's a fun film because the kitschiness of American soap opera, that's sort of like very over the top. There's something about soap opera and Korean drama or TV drama that I think I uh, it's gonna be part of my body of work in the future. I think like sometimes lately reality television to me is this a soap opera, a kind of soap opera.
Oh,
very guilty.
You watch
guilty
like
pleasure.
variety shows, Korean variety shows? Or
I do watch Korean variety shows. Some of it. The reality show sometimes I like your. It's all really people are like saying it's so trashy, like Real Housewives or all these dating shows. But I think underneath or the making of these drama, there is something very human and melodramatic about. And I'm also curious about people who become obsessed with it. Like they find parallels to their lives in something that is an escape. Yeah.
And maybe I haven't asked you, but do you watch these days Korean dramas? Is it something that you like to watch? Can you find time to watch it?
I do. I haven't found time to watch it because Korean drama requires so much commitment.
Yeah.
And I have a backlog of Korean dramas I have to like keep up with. But sometimes I will see my mom watching it if I'm at and I'm like, okay, she's keeping up on that, and she will update me on what's if I see her, and she will update me on like what is
popular
currently happening. Yeah. and so, but there's so many, and it's just I haven't had a chance to keep up.
Yeah,
but I should.
Each month, like maybe 4 or 5 new K-dramas are released each month.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to catch up. So that's why I try to like prioritize stuff that looks a bit better than others, because of course, like with 5 or 6 K-dramas each month, some will be great, some will be not that great. So it's difficult when you start to like pick up which one is worth your time, kind of.
Yeah. Usually by the 3rd or 4th episode, I'm like, okay, I gotta stop. Like you haven't won me over.
You can guess if it will be great or not.
And it's also not just Korean drama. There's so many television. There's so many options.
Yeah. The
paradox of choice is just, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to watch anything. I just want to go out, live a little, but I'm quite happy just watching my shows.
Yeah, because K-dramas are
This is an escape.
popular, but these days they're also Japanese dramas and Chinese dramas and
Are coming back.
Thai dramas. Chinese dramas are, I think, better these days than Korean
Yeah.
one. I think like the last 2 years was quite bad years for Korean dramas. I feel that it's always the same for Korea. Whereas in China, I feel that they try to do new stuff. Of course, we also have like the overbearing CEO tropes and stuff like that, of course. But you can find in China some hidden gem, different stuff that you won't be able to find in Korea.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. My hairdresser, she stopped. She said she hasn't really been watching Korean drama. So every time I go to her, she's like, "You gotta watch this Chinese drama," and so I noticed that trend, and also Japanese drama is starting to come back. Because I remember when I was in high school, Japanese drama was all the rage.
Yeah,
and then it kind of just fizzled a little bit. Korean drama became
the thing
to watch, and then now Japanese drama is coming back in some ways, and
Thai drama
too.
Yeah.
My grandmother loved Thai drama. She because they're starting to become very popular.
Yeah, with BLs especially.
BL drama, especially the stars are huge.
Yeah,
the BL dramas, and so there is. I've been asked like, "Oh, have you thought of doing a BL drama?" And I'm like, I would, but I don't know I've never seen a BL. I've seen clips of BL dramas, but I need to get into that because that's a completely different genre that is so fascinating.
BLs are not only in Thailand. Like Korea is getting more and more like good ones. A recent popular one was Semantic Error. So this one is very popular. And Japan as well is a bit famous for BLs.
Yeah.
Taiwan used to, but not anymore.
I think Taiwanese drama has always been sort of like on and off. Like suddenly come back, but it's I don't know, it's a bit they haven't really had
a good one, a huge one.
They don't have a breakthrough hit yet, so
the last one was Shangjian Someday One Day. This one was a huge one.
Okay,
but it's not a BL.
That was like a romantic.
Yeah, with like time loop and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
With Greg Sue. I don't know if you.
Greg Sue is very popular.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it, but he will be playing in the Korean drama in August.
Because he's huge in Korea, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
popular.
I saw him in person in Taiwan for the Golden Horse, and I remember I was like, wow, this guy is he has that look, that idol look, and I had no idea who he was then, and people were like, you have to. And then there was the year when he was also in Marry My Dead Body.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that just blew up because he's just very charming and boyish, and but yeah, it's there's so many options, so many things to watch. It's hard to keep up.
Thanks to internet, kind of, we have more and more. Like now, you can, if you speak English, you can read English. You can like watch pretty much anything. Anything. So it's even harder than a few years ago. Only K-dramas were popular, or Japanese dramas. Now it's even more countries, and maybe in the future we will have like more Vietnamese dramas, Cambodian dramas. I don't know.
I think Vietnam drama is going to be the next thing. The way Vietnamese television, Vietnamese films is so fast. The way I think right now Vietnamese cinema is known for more art house Vietnamese films, but it's becoming, I think, the next big thing.
And Philippines as well, I think maybe.
Yeah, Philippines has always been, but I think they never really had. They've always been
a breakthrough.
They've always just been like popular just amongst Filipinos, but I don't think they have anything that's very international yet. So.
Yeah, they had Gaya sa Pelikula. That was a BL. That is a BL. It was a bit popular, but it's true that it hasn't got like any breakthrough if you compare to Thailand. But Thailand, that's smart because they decided to put like all their money into BLs.
It's exciting times for dramas in Asia.
Yeah, definitely. I don't watch any like Western series actually. Only movies, even movies, like I have so many things to watch in the East. So I don't have time for the West. I'm sorry. I have to prioritize. I have to choose. So I prefer to go on like movies, and each year, like if you watch like every festival, like Cannes Festival and so on, the BIFF and other festivals.
Have you been to BIFF?
Not yet. I've been to Korea, but I would love to go there.
Yeah, you have to go to Busan. It's really one of the most amazing film festival experience.
I know.
Where the energy and the whole of Asia is there, and people in the West are trying to get into their influence because they recognize it. But it's I think you would have so much fun in Busan.
Yeah, I would love to go there, but it's not easy to like go there. Like I know that even Korean people are fighting for the ticket, so I know. So it's kind of difficult.
You need to get validated. Yeah, you need to get press validation.
Yeah, accreditation. Yeah, it's hard. It's good. It's difficult. But I try to like from afar watch every like festival, the Golden Horse, the one in Shanghai as well, and I try to see like what's happening, which movie is getting popular and so on. I try to catch up. But in France, we are always late, kind of, for movies. We're not the last one, but almost the last one. Like the first one are Singapore, Korea to get the new movies. Like the one How to Get $1 Million Before Grandma Dies.
It should be coming out, right?
I don't know.
No, I read it's going to be in Europe because it's just so wildly popular here.
I would love to.
They're smart. If they're smart, they will put it in France and in other parts of Europe pretty soon.
Because most of the time when we have like shortly after a festival the movie, it's like huge movies like a Monster from Korea that I saw in avant-premiere in Switzerland, or maybe Decision to Live from Park Chan-wook. The big huge movies get released very soon, but the other ones it's always like a few years later, or even sometimes never. And you have to live in Paris. If you don't live in Paris, like there is no chance almost that you will be able to see the movie.
Yeah, because when I was in Udine, it's very. I thought they bring in really the best of Asian cinema of the year, but not the super festival art house type, but really the more accessible ones. And I think they do it really well. And very passionate team behind it. I remember. I mean, my experience there was just undescribable. It was a perfect European premiere for our film. But I had wished that after that we had more exposure in Europe because the film, I wish we had more people watching there. It will. I have to chase our sales agent to make that happen.
Yeah, and sometimes also like being on TikTok and stuff like that can help sometimes for the exposure. So I think the future will be bright for Eastern cinema, I guess.
Yes.
I hope so, at least.
I hope so too.